Well, we've got an update. New Hampshire comes and goes. Donald Trump wins it by 11 points. It's not surprising considering the overall odds we saw yesterday. But where does this put Nikki Haley in terms of her campaign? She comes out and congratulates Trump, but says she's still in the race. Of course, we all know why that is. And even you have reporters now admitting it. This was from Vivek Ramaswamy, a tweet. Don't just take it from me. Here is the direct quotes from the Wall Street Journal editorial board tonight. Quote, if she can remain competitive, this is talking about Nikki Haley, there's an argument for Miss Haley to stay in the race through the July convention. Mr. Trump faces a treacherous legal road. Miss Haley could stay in the race, rack up delegates. Well, really not rack up delegates. She's going to get crushed by Trump. But theoretically, if she gets, if it's 80 to 20, 75 25 in a lot of these states, she will get some delegates and will be the only other real option, the second place option, with DeSantis and Ramaswamy already dropping out after Iowa. And see what happens if he is found guilty. Yes, there it is. Exactly what I said, a few days ago, yesterday, saying that Nikki Haley was just going to stay in the race, kind of run a budget fake campaign because she knows she has no real chance of beating Trump within the Republican Party. Even last night, we saw 53% of the voters in the New Hampshire primary were not Republican. They were either independent or Democrat. That was at least according to an exit poll. That was like MSNBC trying to drum up views and saying, oh my goodness, Nikki Haley possibly could win, kind of foreshadowing that because 53% of the voters were not Republican. It is kind of funny that 53% of the voters weren't Republican in a Republican primary. I guess that's what happens with an open primary, but even that didn't matter. Trump ends up winning by 11 points, even with all of the Never Trump vote concealed and about 5 to 8% Democrats voting at a clip was like 84% voted for Haley in terms of just Democrats voting in a Republican primary. I'm not sure why that is allowed, but 84% were voting for Haley, 6% for Trump. But yes, strange things can happen with candidates who are this old and this disliked by a majority of the public. So he's talking about Trump. Boy, if he thinks Trump is disliked, I wonder what he thinks of Biden. Wow. Considering Biden at this point, his approval rating is 3 points lower than Trump's was at this time in his presidency. The 2024 election may have more twists before the Trump versus Biden die is cast. So maybe that's in reference to Nikki Haley versus Michelle Obama. And I'm going to talk about the whole Michelle Obama thing because there are some misconceptions about it. But yes, this is all right in plain sight. If Nikki Haley decides to stay in past Super Tuesday, possibly into the summer months, even into the convention in July, it's all because she is hoping something comes out against Trump, and that is the Democrat wet dream, because then you have a split Republican Party. See, right now, I guess you could still say it's split, but it's split 70-30. It's about 70% Trump, 30% more establishment Nikki Haley. They don't like Trump. You would figure in a normal year, those people would just fall in line, just like DeSantis, just like some of the others, and they would back Trump because he's up by such an overwhelming percentage. But there is a little difference with this because Trump is facing legal charges when it comes to the racketeering, when it comes to hiding the documents or having the documents unauthorized. Either way, we will see what happens there. But yes, this is the strategy. Everyone knows it. It's ridiculous. Nikki Haley's going to go to these campaign events. She's just doing this to be the second choice in case something happens to Trump. Now, I do want to address the Michelle Obama thing. A lot of people wondering what's been going on recently. She's been in the news. People saying she's shooting up in terms of the betting odds. I mean, Michelle Obama, up until this past week, was always still, she always had like a 5 to 8% chance in terms of the betting odds. Now she's ahead of Newsom, and it makes perfect sense why they would choose Michelle Obama over Newsom. By the way, this creates like the mega Obama dynasty because you had Barack for 8 years. You've got Biden, who's Barack's VP. A lot of people think Barack is heavily influencing Biden, and why wouldn't he be? Biden was below Barack. Biden stumbles around. He can't even talk. He's not coherent. So, of course, Barack would be orchestrating stuff. And then imagine Michelle Obama. This is the ultimate. I mean, we're going on, if Michelle gets elected, we're going on year 13 if you combined Obama with Biden's turn and then Michelle comes in. But yeah, recently we've seen the switch. We've seen Michelle Obama move ahead. I mean, look at BetUS, 13% chance there in terms of betting odds. Don't get me wrong, you still have Biden at a 73% chance, and I think the longer this goes on, you would think the higher chance Biden would be of being the nominee, but who knows? There's still many months left, but the shift is Obama over Newsom, and the reason that's happening, how can you justify, if you are the Democratic Party in 2024, you're super pro-minority, you're super pro-women, how can you justify jumping Kamala Harris, a minority female, for Gavin Newsom, a white male who actually got recalled and a lot of people don't like him? The optics of that are horrible, and they care about optics. That's the reason they chose Kamala Harris in the first place. It wasn't because she was qualified. It was because when you go back to 2008, you're talking about a minority. Obama, 2012, another, Obama again. 2016, Hillary, a woman. That's progress to them. And then 2020, of course, they go with a very old, 75-year-old white dude who's been in politics for 50 years. How do you justify doing that? Well, you need a minority female, and that's why Kamala Harris was propped up. The issue with doing something like that is because of Biden's age at this point, he's become an extreme liability. Even with gas prices going lower, his approval rating is not coming up. I would expect his approval rating to get slightly better just because Democrats and Republicans, especially in an election year, tend to galvanize around, their party. So you would expect all the Democrats to start approving. I mean, they kind of already do, but I would expect it to improve his approval rating, that is, by a few points. But the only justification for somebody jumping Kamala Harris would be someone like Michelle Obama. It would not be Gavin Newsom. So that is why I think you're seeing a shift with Michelle Obama. I still don't think it's likely to happen, but imagine a Donald Trump, Michelle Obama matchup, or Nikki Haley, Michelle Obama. My goodness. I mean, it's got a low % chance of happening, obviously, because Biden right now, it seems like he's going to be the choice, although there is the questions if you are the Democrats. There's no motivation to go out and vote for Biden, and that's why they've already started their rhetoric. I mean, they've had the rhetoric for, since 2021, but now it's really ratcheting up. Their argument and their campaign strategy is not based around Joe Biden's accomplishments or go out and we want this guy for 4 more years. It's going to be great. He's an incumbent. Look how good he's done. It's a fear-mongering tactic, and it's saying Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. He's a fascist. If he wins, he's never going to leave the White House again. Look at 2021. Look at January 6th. It's a fear-mongering tactic. It's not based off of Joe Biden and what he's done, because they know that's not going to motivate anyone. So that is their entire strategy. It is interesting if Nikki Haley, listen, this is what Republicans and Democrats do, and it's very annoying. So there's a lot of Republicans right now that think Nikki Haley is a Democrat, and it's just not true. Like, the idea that if you're a hardline conservative and there's another conservative, and I'm not saying Nikki Haley is good, and, I would not vote for her, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't mean she's not a conservative because she doesn't agree with literally everything that your party stands for. I see liberals doing this all the time as well. There'll be these extremely alt-left liberals, and they'll be like, oh my God, he doesn't agree with me on one topic. He's literally a conservative. It's just these people are so obsessed. They're so tribal. There's no nuance to their arguments. It's such a robot-type brain where if somebody doesn't agree with me 100%, they have to be on the other side. But either way, that's just my take on the whole Michelle Obama thing. If somebody were to replace Biden, in terms of optics, it's very hard to push Newsom up because, and believe it or not, this is where we are in terms of the Democratic Party. This is how obsessed they are with race and sex. It would be very hard to justify jumping Gavin Newsom over Kamala Harris. Now, you could have Kamala Harris agree to it and say, I don't want to be president, and that's fine. But then that brings up questions. why is she VP in the first place? Well, it's a quota system. That's why she's VP. Let's be honest about it. But in general, people would have to, like, this is the whole Wall Street Journal finally realizing and putting it out there. Oh, Nikki Haley is staying in the race because what if Trump faces charges and she can have her little 150 delegates in July and say, I'm next on the line, even though I got destroyed by Trump because he's got a, federal charge or whatever. She can go in and swoop in for the nomination. The people, they're finally starting to realize it, and maybe we'll get an article coming out talking about why Michelle Obama is being propped up over Gavin Newsom. I'm not saying this is going to happen with Michelle Obama. Again, it's about a 70% chance right now Biden is the guy, but it does make sense it would be Obama over Newsom based on the overall optics of that situation. And certainly if I'm predicting a Michelle Obama Donald Trump matchup, I think Michelle Obama's got a better chance than Biden by, I don't know if I'd say by a wide margin, but I think it's very clear that Michelle Obama, because there's so many people that adore the Obamas. You're getting the female president narrative again. There's going to be people that just vote for Michelle Obama because she's a woman. And again, it's an Obama, that would get a lot more support than Biden, who's running his campaign based off of the fears of the potential Donald Trump's second term, the idea he's a fascist and all of it. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.